So what's up guys, it's Ash here and welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video guys, we're going to be looking at some tactics for the 4-2-2 formation, a formation that I was using in Foot Champs qualies yesterday along with that 4-1-3-2 that I did show you guys. It's a very good formation, the 4-2-2, very good in both the attack and the defense, which is why a lot of people do choose to use this formation. But yeah guys, let's get right into the video and I hope you enjoy. If you guys want coins for FC24, make sure you check out MMOEXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're very fast, they're very cheap, they're very reliable, and if you use my code Rema, you can get yourself a lovely 5% discount. Alright then guys, so starting off with the custom tactics for the 4-2-2. On the defensive style, we have this on balance. Now the reason we have it on balanced is because it does give you the best control over your defense. So when you want to press your opponent and be aggressive, you can, and then when you want to drop back and be a little bit more passive, you can also do that. When it comes to applying pressure in this game as well, we don't actually have to use any of these pressure tactics here. We can use something else which we'll get onto in a moment. So balanced is the way to go there. Moving on to the width guys, I like to use a lower width in this game. The reason for this is people like to go for cutbacks anyway. So even if you have like a crazy high width, people will always go for those cutbacks and they're pretty hard to stop. So I think it's worth at least having a narrow and compact defense to stop all of those attacks through the middle, so you're at least solid in that area. And then when you want to cover the wider areas to stop somebody going for a cutback, you can do that manually. Moving on to the depth guys, this is the thing I was on about when it comes to pressure in this game. So if you are on the new gen version of this game and you have your depth on 71 or higher, you'll get this automatic press from the AI. It's a very strong press, a very overpowered press, and the game basically defends for you. You also get an automatic overload of the ball side, which makes it very difficult for your opponent to play through you. And the thing about this 71 depth as opposed to like these pressure tactics here is you actually get a minimal stamina drain when you use it. So you can basically press all game and not get punished for it. So this is something that's very broken and I do hope gets fixed, but it is very useful at this moment. If you are on the old gen version of the game, however, I would suggest something like 55 to 60 depth, as like I said, this 71 depth is new gen only. Moving on to the build-up play guys, we have this on balanced. This is because balanced is the most controlled form of build-up. When you have it on balance, you can pick and choose when and where you use each form of build-up. So if you want to play slowly, you can, and then if you want to speed it up and play a little bit faster, you can also do that. So balance gives you a lot of control, which the other options don't give you. For chance creation guys, direct passing is an absolute must. It's the only setting which will actually allow you to break through that park the bus defense. Basically with direct passing, when you are attacking, your attackers will push very far into your opponent's box, and your opponent's defenders should follow that attacker's run, and then when the opponent's defenders have followed that run, your attackers will then track back so you can get that cutback opportunity. A bit of a boring matter, but very important guys. Now moving on to the attacking width guys, I have this on 39. This is because it is a more narrow formation and we don't want to make the width crazy high, otherwise it plays out more like a 4-2-4. I don't like making the width too narrow, however, otherwise it feels like my players are way too close together, and that is not too good either. For players in box guys, I have this on 7. This is so we can get quite a few players into the box to finish off our chances, which is very useful. This is a preference thing though, you can completely change this to whatever you want. And as for corners and free kicks guys, I have these both on 2, but again, it doesn't really matter what you have, you can use whatever you want with this. Sorry to interrupt the video guys, but I have noticed around 90% of you that watch the content are not subscribed, so if you are finding any of these videos helpful, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, as it does help me out massively. Also don't forget to drop the video a like as well. And with all that aside guys, let's get back to the video. Now moving on to the player instructions guys, on one of the strikers I have them on stay central and get in behind. This is so they will always stay in those central positions, which is very useful for a striker. We don't always want them drifting out super wide, as they're not always going to be in the correct positions to help us finish off our chances. So stay central and get in behind on this player. Getting behind is obviously useful because people are using a lot of these high defensive lines, so getting behind is useful as it allows you to get in behind those high lines. I suggest using this on your more like lengthy, pacey striker, as opposed to your other striker, which we'll get onto now. So on this striker, your more technical one, stay central and mixed attack. Stay central for the exact same reasons as the left striker, and then mixed attack so we can get a bit more out of this player. Because he's a bit more technical, we don't always want him running in behind, sometimes we want him coming short, so mixed attack is the way to go there in my opinion. Moving on to the cam guys, we have them both on comeback attack on defense. This is very useful because it will make the team defend in a 4-4-2 shape. The reason we want it to defend in a 4-4-2 is because if you look at this formation the way it is, there is a couple of gaps next to the CDMs on the wing, which your opponent will be able to exploit if he's a good player. So we want these players to come back to defend as a right mid and left mid so we can fill in those spaces. This makes us good in both the attack and the defense. Now moving on to the CDMs, guys, on the left one, I use a more defensive minded player. So on this player we have him on stay back, cut passing lanes and cover center. Stay back's obviously very useful because we don't want him flying forward if he is more defensive. Cut passing lanes is also very useful because it allows him to break up the play, and then cover center means he'll always defend those central areas. Moving on to the right CDM, guys, I do use a more box-to-box style player in this position, somebody that will attack and defend. So on this player, we leave him on the default settings and then cover center. We put him on the default settings because, like I said, he is a more box-to-box player, so we don't always just want to restrict him to defending. And then cover center allows him to defend those central areas, or she, because this player is a woman, of course. But yeah, cover center on this player. Moving on to the fullbacks, guys, on your more attacking one, balanced overlap. This gives you extra width, which is very useful because, like I said, this is a narrow formation. So just having this option when you're going forward, the wider option, very, very useful and very underrated. On the other fullback, the more defensive one, stay back and overlap. This is so you always have at least 3 defenders back at a time, but when you send this player on a run forward, he'll make the overlapping runs to add extra width. So yeah, that's it for the fullbacks. For the centre backs and the keeper, I just leave them alone and I do not touch them. But yeah, guys, that is everything for the video. If you have enjoyed or found it useful, please be sure to drop it a like, sub to the channel if you are new, and don't forget to turn on notifications. And with all that aside, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.